So I got a Cornet for myself. It's an old Ambassador Cornet. I would guess around the late 60s. But it needs some repairs. It's got some stuck tuning slides. The valves are okay. I need to check on the receiver to see if it's the one that only took certain mouthpieces or if it's like made for general Cornet use. The finish on the horn is coming off pretty easily. So I think what I'm going to do, and especially on this area, I don't know if you guys can see that, there's just a lot of corrosion on the horn. So my main plan is to strip the entire lacquer off of the horn after, giving it some repairs, giving it a bath to make sure that the insides are good first. But I think generally this is going to be a video about the process of me trying to give this a brushed look on the horn. So I'm going to start with stripping the horn. I'm going to, kind of rub it with some Scotch pads, which I'm going to get into my materials I'm going to use in a second. And, just generally trying to give this a better look. I think this horn has seen better days. I don't know if polish is going to save a lot of the finish that's been coming off. So, I haven't really seen too many videos of anybody DIYing a horn like this. So hopefully this helps. And, I think this is just mainly to see how this project goes along and see, can this help other people? Is this possible? Is this something that's even worth it? I got this horn for pretty cheap. So let's get into the materials. So to start, let's get right into the first thing that I bought, which was paint and cleaning rags. You won't really have to buy these. I just don't have any. And a lot of the stuff that I bought is because I simply don't have it. So I have these paint and cleaning rags. I think it was like $15. The main thing that I'm going to be using to strip the lacquer off of the horn is this citrus strip. Hopefully, I don't want to use anything that's going to strip the horn super fast, just because I don't want to work with too much crazy chemical that's going to make me have to wear a mask, wear eyeglasses, wear some type of protection. I'm just going to use this and some rubber gloves, and then we'll see how that works. I've heard that you may have to do some multiple passovers with this because it's just not as good as normal paint thinner or paint remover, but we'll see how this does. Next, I got some Brasso. This is mainly just because if there is, as much corrosion inside of the slides that are making them as stuck as they are, I'm going to need to use a little bit more of an abrasive polish to get those slides down to where they need to be. And this is just going to help me with that. I'm not really planning on using this on the horn itself because I'm not planning on polishing the horn itself. But it's just good to have, especially if you're a brass player. Brasso, you don't want to use it too often, but when it works well. Just a few cleaning materials that I bought. I bought this brush. This is just going to be for generally cleaning the horn. I'm not too worried about scratching, like the minor scratches on the lacquer or the plating, just because I'm planning on removing that anyways. So I have this brush. This is going to be just for the general cleaning, the first clean of the horn. And then I've got a 3-pack, but generally I'm just going to be using this brass brush. And that's for when I'm stripping the lacquer off and maybe a little bit of the plating. Just using something that's a little bit more abrasive, that's going to get that off quicker, and I'm not going to have to do multiple passes with the citrus strip. The next thing I bought was some penetrant, just for the slides mainly that are stuck. That way I can put these in those slides and then get them out quickly. I don't really want to take this horn to a shop. I do have a friend that is an apprentice right now with the shop, and so I'll have access to him to have him be able to help me if it gets to that point. But generally, I don't really want to pay anything more than what I already have. All I bought was materials. The horn was basically free. I didn't pay anything for that. But the second I start investing more than what the horn is actually worth, then I think the project might just go, be a bust. So hopefully I can repair those slides on my own. Next thing I got is some pads, mainly the Scotch-Brite pad and the 3M pad. The 3M pad is going to be a little bit less of a grit, so I think what I'm going to plan on doing is using the Scotch-Brite pad first, and trying to just get most of the plating worn down to where I want it to look as in terms of a brush finish, and then just taking this lighter 3M, not as gritty, not as hard or abrasive, and finishing the rest of the horn with that after getting most of it off. That way I can just get the nice brushed look that I want. And then just the last few little things is just some gloves to make sure that I'm protecting my hands with any of the chemicals that I'm using to clean the horn and to do what I need to do to it. Some brushes to apply, mainly the citrus strip that I bought, and then also to apply this lacquer thinner that I got. This is just going to be used mainly after I strip all of the lacquer off. That way, when I reapply lacquer, if I can end up doing that properly, it's not going to bubble up as much, hopefully, and it'll be a little bit more clean. And then the last thing is going to be just this clear aerosol lacquer. You don't really want to lacquer your own horn, but this is a horn that's cheap. I didn't pay anything for it. I'm not worried about breaking it because I'm not planning on using it, at least for now. If I was using this horn a lot more, then I don't think I would be doing this project. But this is just a project that I want to do to see how does it work, and you guys can kind of use me as your tester to see, is it worth doing all of this. And then the last thing that I bought was a bucket. I could have used a large sink or a bathtub, but with all the chemicals, I just think I would rather keep it outside of anything that's going to get actually used by other people. I think with most of this, particularly with the bucket, the brushes that I bought, the rags, the cleaning rags, and maybe even the Brasso, people probably already have those materials. I just don't have pretty much anything, so that kind of racked up my price. I ended up paying $73 for all the materials. But if I take away the rags, the Brasso, the brushes, and the bucket, which is kind of just extra, probably get it around $40 in just all of the general chemicals and materials. So I think with that, I'm going to get started on actually cleaning the horn, trying to get the slides removed. I won't record too much of that just because I don't think anybody really wants to see that. Everybody knows how to clean a horn. But as soon as I start getting into the actual process of stripping the lacquer and adding the finish that I want to the horn, I will start trying to do full recordings of that process.
you can kind of see the lacquer. All of that stuff that's floating around in there is the lacquer that got stripped off using the strip. Okay, so I've only done about 15 seconds of sanding with the Scotch pad. I don't know how well you can see this again, but you can already, I think the camera's picking up all of the light scratches that are already in there. The goal is to just go in a nice motion and get all of the scratches to look nice and even until we kind of get down to the more matte kind of look. Okay, honestly, it's only been about 2 minutes. Already we're kind of getting, see if I can get the camera, we're getting that nice brushed look. The deep scratches, you can still see them in some places, but in general, the corrosion that was caused by the deep scratches has already been sanded down. I'm going to do a few more passes with the green Scotch Brite, and then I'm going to go into the gray one on just the bell right here, and then we're going to see how that looks. Just the plating, I mean, look at the beautiful, like, just brush marks. I'm going to definitely do another, like, 5 to 10 minutes on this. I'm hoping that I can kind of get a nice even look across the entire horn. Okay, you know, now look at the bells looking like at this point. That is looking great. I think I'm going to call this end good, and I'm going to just start working down the rest of the horn. Just to come back and look at the work, this was the bell again. I just had to get some better light on that. This is what I've gotten so far on the other end of the bell. It's looking okay so far. This is just with the green. These deeper scratches right here. These deeper scratches right here are definitely going to need a little bit more of a do-over. You can kind of see right here where the end is gotten of where I've gotten so far. I think the most important thing that I'm realizing is that you need to go in one direction, because you can for sure see the direction of the scratches when you're doing this. So like these ones are going here, and then these ones are a little bit more circular motion to get around the bell. Whereas this was a little bit easier because it was just the full pad could just get in there. So yeah, just gonna, continue doing this. Just to kind of update where I'm at, here's the bell again. Did a little bit of touching up on that bell. Let me move this better into the light. Was the bell. Some touching up on the bell. It's looking a lot better. You can still see those individual scratches. I think I'm going to go back in with the gray brush again and go back in there. We're getting a lot more of a uniform look for the rest of this bell. I mean, especially when I go right here, you can really see the scratch brush. You can still see those deep scratches. Started working on the valve casing over here. But when you flip onto this other side, you can clearly see the difference. I mean, especially with this bell in the background. Looking at that to, the still plated, fully plated lead pipe right here going all the way through. It's going to look better. I did notice or realize after I started working on this thing that these braces were done. I'm going to order, I just need I think I need one new brace. But yeah, it's gone. I think what that means that in the end, what I'm gonna have to do for this lead pipe situation, or not lead pipe, with this tuning slide situation, is just desolder this whole section right here. Desolder this section right here, and just kind of twist this portion out. Hopefully that helps me get this out, because I know this section goes pretty in and out. So I just need this section out. This I wasn't able to get out. I think I'm going to contact my friend, see if he can come in and take this first valve slide out. Other than that, I mean, it's just looking beautiful. It's looking great. Okay, it's day 2 since I started on this. Let me just show the horn real quick. Touched up some spots this morning. Still waiting for my friend. I'm going to see him on Monday to see if he can get the braces and the pipe fixed on this section right here. The bell's still looking good. The rest of the horn. Let's see if I can kind of come in. There's the bell. The rest of the horn there. You can kind of see him going around and just getting everything in between. The valves are a little bit tricky, but I've been getting them. But it's looking pretty good so far. The reason I wanted to take this section of video though is also to a little bit to show this off, and that it's very nearly done with the brush finish on this, but also because these valves are a little bit jacked up. I know for a fact that there is supposed to be cork here, so I'm gonna have to order some cork. Hopefully it's not too expensive. I know usually eBay, people sell a lot of parts on there. So I'm gonna have to buy some cork for these, probably new pads. They're not too bad, but they're a little bit dirty. But also, I don't know if not having cork has something to do with it, but these valves get dry very quickly. Okay, so what I went ahead and did is I took these out again. I went in through the bottom and added some valve oil around just the edges so that I could lubricate the inside of this too. All these valves are working much better. I am feeling now that there's not really any resistance on the inside of the valve casing itself, that these springs are weak. This one is okay. The second valve spring is the best at this point, but the first and third valve slide are just super weak. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see if I can get a full valve kit for these. So that's going to be new pads, new corks, new springs, and then after that we'll see, does that affect how well these things play. I won't expect it will be very much. A lot of people make springs and stuff like that, so we'll do that, and then I'll record that portion when I get that little kit there. I'm going to kind of interrupt this mid-video to just talk about a few things before this project kind of moves closer to that finished area. Is this worth it? I think is the biggest question at this point. I think it depends. I only paid, $78 for materials. I didn't even buy the horn. So far, on the inside, you can kind of see what this is looking like. Hopefully you get a good view. I did start adding some Brasso polish to the edge here. I generally think that Brasso polish is too abrasive for the outside of the horn, so I'm still unsure if I want to continue using that on the rest. The scratches do kind of fade slightly when I use the Brasso, but in the end it's really deteriorating the metal by large amounts compared to what you would get out of a normal polish. There's hard to reach areas for sure. Especially when you get down to this area with the second valve, lead pipe tuning slide area. It's going to be hard to get there. I think the one thing that I've noticed so far with just this big portion that is, very nearly done with the brush finish, is that it gets dirty quickly. When the dirt latches on to the raw brass, it stays there. And I think the only way to get that off really is with a polish. I'm not gonna, I can't just sand it down every time that there's some dirt that gets on there. I think that kind of puts me in an impasse because right now I'm still considering, do I even want to lacquer over the horn? Because I do want to get that patina kind of oxidization on the brass. I think it's going to be a nice look for the horn, and especially with how old it is, I think it's going to be kind of fitting of the horn's character. So I'm not sure if I want to lacquer it yet. Still, I do still have the lacquer. I haven't used it yet. I don't really know if I want to use it. I think in the end, once I finish this project, it's going to be just kind of leaving it how it is and just sticking it in a stand and putting it in the corner of the room until it gets the kind of patina that I want. And then after that, maybe I'll go over and lacquer it to, add some protectant to it when I start taking it out to wherever I'm going, to play on the horn. But yeah, that's kind of besides the point. In general, I think if you're thinking about doing this to your personal horn, I say don't. I would do this to a horn that is just a beater horn. I have two other horns that are in great condition. I have
a Canstall Burbank that I would never even touch in this kind of faction, like this experimental thing that I'm doing to this horn. I think if you have the money to go get a professionally done brushed finish, go do it. It's not worth, trying to save a few bucks on doing it yourself. I don't think that this has been turned out bad anyway. I mean, like, especially looking at that bell, it's been going pretty good. But in the end, when you go get this kind of finish professionally, they're going to do a very professional lacquer over that's going to protect it from getting that oxidization that a lot of people don't like. I don't mind it, but in the end, it's also going to be like, when I say this gets dirty, it's because it's not lacquered over. So I think once it gets lacquered over, it's not going to hold dirt as easily as it currently does right now. I think this is going to take a few more days. There's a few things that I am noticing just from the horn. These valves are a little bit rough. I might have to go in there and sand. Maybe just some brasso polish to kind of wear down the metal a little bit is going to help. Because the valves are clean and oiled, but they don't really come back up. It could be a spring issue. I don't think it is. I think it's just the valves are just a little bit too rough against the metal that they're going against. I think the next order of business for me here is at this point to take the horn to my friend, have him resolder these joints, and then get these slides out hopefully. I think after that it's going to be just finishing up. But yeah, I guess that's where I'm at halfway through.